As you know, you can set inline styles on an HTML element with the style attribute. The style set in this way override those set with external style sheets. Just as we saw with other attributes, inline styles can be set on an element with a style property. However, unlike most other attributes, the style property itself is an object. The properties on the style object represent the various CSS properties we can set. Let's look at an example. To code along with me, first download the course folder from the link in the description below and open it with your favorite code editor. Here I'm using Visual Studio Code. From the course folder, open the exercise folder called JavaScript DOM. And then open the index.html file in the browser. Here I'll also open the JavaScript console. In the index.html file, remember to link app.js file. Now let's flip back to the browser's console and see some examples. Remember, the variable p is accessible here in the console. If I type p and press enter, you see that it's a reference to the description paragraph element that was defined earlier in the app.js file. So let's have a look at its style property. So I'll type p.style, I'll press enter, and if you open this up, you can see all the style properties. And here's background, here's border, here's the color, and so on. And you'll notice that none of these styles are set. But just looking at the paragraph, it appears to have some styles applied to it, right? Well, remember, these properties only refer to the element's inline styles, not any CSS rules that might be applied from a separate CSS style sheets. So as a result, you can't rely on these properties to know how an element has been styled, unless you set them here yourself. The style object properties are generally used as setters, not getters for this reason. So let's look at several examples. First, I'll try the color property. So I'll type p.style.color, assignment operator, and the string teal. I'll press enter. Now the paragraph text became teal. Next, I'll try the background color property. So I'll type p.style.background color, assignment operator, and the string gray. I'll press enter. Now it has a gray background. And one common use for setting style with JavaScript is to hide and unhide elements on the page. So let's set up a button that will toggle our description paragraph, text field, and list items in and out of the view. In the index.html file, first I'll add a button below the first paragraph and give it an ID of toggle list. And the button will say hide list. Then, since we want to hide this paragraph, text field, button, and list as one unit, let's wrap them in a div and give it the class list. I'll save the change. Now in the app.js file, let's select the button and div elements we just created and store them in variables. First, I'll select the button. So I'll type const toggle list assignment operator document dot get element by ID and pass in toggle list. Next, I'll select the div. So I'll type const list div assignment operator document dot query selector and pass in the class selector dot list. You also notice that I'm using two different selector methods here. and it's just for practice. But in a real project, keeping it simple is probably a good idea. So for example, if you have decided to use query selector, it might make sense to use it as much as possible throughout your code base. Now we need to add a click event listener to the toggle button. So right below all the variable declarations, I'll type toggle list dot add event listener First, I'll pass in click as an event name, then a callback function for writing what to do when the function is clicked. So when the toggle button is clicked, we want to hide the div element with the class of list, and we can do that by setting its display property to none. So in the function, I'll type list div dot style dot display and assignment operator string none. Alright, so I'll save the change, refresh the page, I'll click the hide list button. You see that everything below disappeared. So great. If I click again, nothing happens. So let's flip back to the app.js file and make our toggle button completely functional. So when this function runs, we want to show the list if it's hidden and hide the list if it's visible. So notice I use the word if. That means we can use a conditional statement. So let's start by adding if and else statements to the function. I'll type list div dot style dot display assignment operator and a string block. And then right below, I'll type else, a set of curly braces, and inside the curly braces, I'll type list div dot style dot display and assignment operator and string none. So now the function will either show or hide the list. So what conditions should the if statement check to decide which code block to run? Well, let's use the div elements display property. Since our function here is managing the inline display property, we can rely on the value it returns. So in the condition, I'll type list div dot style dot display strictly equal to none. So now if the display is none, it will be set to block, otherwise it will be set to none. And let's update few more things here. So first, let's update the button's text depending on whether it's hiding or showing the list. We can use the text content property for this. So first in the if clause, I'll type toggle list dot text content assignment operator and a string hide list. Then inside the else clause, I'll type toggle list dot text content assignment operator and string show list. Alright, so I'll save the change, refresh the page, click the button several times, and we can see that it works both ways now. And notice the button also updates text to tell the user what it does, hide list or show list. But there seems to be a problem. Notice how the list description paragraph is getting erased except for a colon. That's kind of weird, right? Well, something is wrong with the code we have written. The problem is a little tricky, but can you figure out what's going on here? Feel free to pause the video and try to figure out what the problem might be. The colon is a clue. Now, don't worry if you didn't get it on your own. As I said, it was a tricky problem, and remember, the colon was the clue. The problem turned out to be that both of our click event handlers are firing when we click the show and hide button. So the second handler replaced the list description with the text from the input field. So if that input was blank, which it was, the paragraph's text content was replaced with an empty string with a colon appended to it. So in other words, it was replaced with just a colon. Now the question is, why were both event handlers firing? Well, remember how query selector selects the first element it matches in the DOM? When we added the show and hide button above the other button, that became the first button element in the DOM. But this query selector on line 5 also selects the first button element, because document.querySelector always selects the first element it matches. In other words, the document.getElementById method on line 1 and the document.querySelector method on line 5 all select the same button element. So we can say that both toggle list and button variable on line 1 and line 5 are referenced to the same button element, and it's the first button element. So in the end, when the first button is clicked, both event handlers will fire. So now that we have two buttons on the page, this line should be more specific. Since the element we want to target has a class of description, let's add that into the selector. So I'll type .description. And while we are at it, let's add the class to the input as well. So I'll type .description. That will make it obvious that these three elements are grouped together, just from reading the JavaScript. Alright, so now I'll save the change. Refresh the page. Click the button several times. As you can see, now it's working fine. Good! And up next, I'll teach you how to create your own element from scratch.